अर्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we have entered into the studying of the Bhagavadgita in detail. We have covered so far the 67 shlokas of the second chapter. Now we are going to study the 68th shloka, the verse of the Gita, second chapter. So there is a need of introduction before we going to study this 68th shloka. The 68th shloka starts like this: Tasmat yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. It says, therefore, tasmat. The tasmat needs an introduction because unless we recapture details of the previous verses, we will not be able to appreciate this verse. So let us recapture and recollect what we have studied in the earlier shlokas. So the segment of this particular chapter, second chapter, as we already know, deals with the Thita Prajna, the man of steady wisdom. And after giving the characteristics of the steady man of steady wisdom, Krishna says one has to be very careful in thinking about the worldly things, because once what we meditate upon or what we think, and there will be a sangha, attachment to that object. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, etc. And from the attachment leads to kama, the desire, and desires, when it is obstructed, leads to krodha, the anger. The krodha leads to delusion, and delusion leads to loss of memory, and from loss of memory we will lose our discriminating power, that is called the buddhinasha. Buddhinashat pranashyati. The life will be destroyed as if we lose our mind or the intellect. Therefore, what one should do is to interact with the external world without raga and dvesha. Raga means the extreme kind of attachment. Dvesha is aversion, hatred. We should allow our indriyas to move about, but without any raga and dvesha. Then we should control the mind, atma vashyehi, and our mind should be subservient to us. We should be controlling the mind. And Atma Vashya, with senses are also should be under our control. and then states that attempt will lead to prasada. Prasada is the state of tranquility, peace, and contentment when we strive for the control of the senses and the mind. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi. All the dukkhas or all the miseries will be destroyed. And prasanna hetachasaha hyashu buddhihi pariyavatishtate. The mind or the intellect becomes steady like the sky or the space when one reaches the state of prasada. So Krishna says, ayuktasya buddhihi nasti. The importance of yoga, control of the mind, control of the senses is emphasized here. Nasti buddhihi ayuktasya. So buddhi means spiritual comprehension or the spiritual wisdom doesn't arise if we cannot practice the control of the mind and the control of the senses. And nacha ayuktasya bhavana, meditation is impossible. Concentration is impossible for one who cannot control his mind and his senses. And if we cannot meditate, if we are unable to meditate, if we cannot concentrate our mind on one object, then there will be no peace. This is the psychology of Gita. So, in the earlier segment, in the earlier shlokas also we have read Vyavasayatmika buddhi and Avyavasayatmika buddhi. Vyavasayatmika buddhi is one pointed, Avyavasayatmika buddhi is multi-branched. It is not concentrated. It goes here and there astray and try to reach many objects. That is why we get restless, our mind gets disturbed. The goal is to develop one-pointedness, and that one-pointedness is called here the yoga. It is achieved through only the control of the senses and the control of the mind. Nacha abhavayataha shantihi. If we cannot achieve a kind of concentration, if we are not able to meditate, if there is no meditation on our part, and the peace will not come to us. Ashantasya kutas sukhaha. So there is an invariable relationship between shanti and also the sukha. Shanti means tranquility, peace. Sukha means the happiness. We think in the worldly pleasures there is an excitement, there is so much of restlessness. We think there is a pleasure there, happiness is there. But it is not true. Only when mind becomes tranquil, we can hope to be having peace, happiness. Happiness and the shanti are one and the same. This is a psychological fact we have to understand. When we understand this, our mind will not go outward to get the happiness from the outside objects. Outside objects will make our mind excited, and the pleasures will make our mind more restless, hankering for more and more pleasures and more happiness. And that is not the real happiness. The contentment, satisfaction is the real happiness. And Krishna has already instructed in this regard, Atmani Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. One should be fully satisfied with his own. So our center of satisfaction, our source of satisfaction is nowhere, it is inside, in our own Atman. We can be completely satisfied. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. Here lies the Atman, which is the source of every noble virtue that we try to achieve in this life. In infinite terms, we can have happiness, infinite existence, and infinite bliss, infinite knowledge. Everything is in our mind. So this is the This is what we study in this shloka number 65, 66. Next comes the shloka number 67. It says, when indriyas are moving about and indriyas are approaching the objects, the eyes want to see the form, the ears want to see they comprehend the sound, etc. Then mind also follows it. And mind, there is an invariable close connection with the mind and the senses. We think mind only sees the objects. It is not true. And it is indriyas comprehend the objects and mind follows it. And mind catches what indriyas or the senses comprehends. And that is what the Indian psychology, the Vedantic psychology teaches. Then what happens? The prajna, the discrimination, prajna of the mind to discriminate or distinguish what is Atman and what is not Atman, and that will be carried away by the senses. The mind itself will be carried away by the senses. When mind is introvert, mind is concentrated, there will be prajna. That prajna of the Atman, prajna of the God. That prajna, the highest kind of awareness, we will lose when mind is carried away by the senses. And mind will always be flowing and following the senses. The senses will be in search of the objects and mind follows it. And that is the state of the restless mind. Vayurnavam ivambhasi, an example, the illustration is given. In the sea, ocean, a gale or the terrible storm will just replace the nava or the ship. It will change the direction of the ship. A ship is moving in one direction and that wind can change the direction. In the same way, when mind is thinking of the God, mind is thinking of the Atman, the senses, very powerful senses, may just change the direction the mind is working and it can carry the mind outward. This warning Krishna gives in this 67th verse. So with this introduction we have to study the 68th verse. Tasma, therefore, what we have to do? Asya mahabaho nigruhitani sarvashaha. Therefore, O Arjuna, one who is indeed nigruhita, one who has controlled, one who has withdrawn from all directions. It is not enough if we can withdraw the mind from certain quarters. We have to withdraw the mind from all kinds of quarters, even the mental activities and all kinds of unwanted thoughts, evil thoughts, good thoughts, everything we have to withdraw from. Nigrihitani sarvashaha. From sarvashaha, indriyani indriyarthebhyaha. Indriyani means the sense organs are to be withdrawn from the indriyarthebhyaha. Let us dwell on these two words a little bit. Indriyas mean the senses that we see through the eyes. Eyes is a sense organ, and the ears are the sense organs, and also the touching is done by the skin. That is also a sense organ. And these are all called the indriyas in Sanskrit. Indriya artha, the objects of the indriyas. So indriyas will comprehend certain objects. Each indriya has an object to comprehend, to know. That is called the indriyartha. So what is the artha or the object for the indriya, the eye? The object, the eye, artha or the object is the form. And also the object for the ear is the sound. Like this we have to understand. For a man of meditation, it is impossible for to meditate or to concentrate on God or the Atman unless he or she withdraws his senses from the external, respective external objects and concentrate the mind only on Atman. So the psychology is simple. When we withdraw the mind from the external objects, mind also gets inward. So mind, when instead of following the senses, will get inward. That inwardness of the mind is what is wanted in the time of meditation. So indriyani indriyarthebhyaha nigrihitani. So all the indriyas from all the directions are they withdrawn from their objects and are merged into the mind, and mind in turn has become completely introvert, is concentrated on the Atman or the God. And tasya prajna pratishtita. And the persons, in that person, there is a steadiness of the wisdom. So we can also have wisdom, but it will not be steady. By studying the books or the hearing lectures, we can have kind of a discriminative or discerning mind. What is real, what is not real. This is God, what God alone is real, Atman alone is real. But the steadiness of the mind will not remain unless our senses are withdrawn from the respective objects. And this is the teaching of Krishna in the 68th shloka. Coming to the 69th shloka now, Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. So we have to make distinction between ordinary people and the people with wisdom. Here it is called the Sita Prajna, whose mind is steady, is well established and concentrated. Concentrated in what? Concentrated in Atman and Atman alone. And who is Atmanev Atmana Tushtaha, finds his happiness or contentment in only the Atman. And such a person is of higher caliber, and ordinary people cannot understand the state in which he is deriving all the strength, all this happiness, and all this contentment. So the distinction we have to understand. So it is stated in an allegorical manner, in a kind of imaginative manner by Krishna in this verse. It is a famous verse. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam. All this vyavahara, the empirical affairs we do in our day-to-day work, it is in the realm of the avidya, the ignorance. Because we have the kartrutva bhava and the bhoktrutva bhava. What is the kartrutva bhava? Atman is not a doer. Still we think we are the doers. We are the enjoyers. We are the sufferers. We are the happy people. So I am happy. I am the doer. I am the sufferer. And all these ideas come from the ignorance. So we are in a state of ignorance. When thus avidya is destroyed, it gets destroyed in the case of Sthita Prajna, one whose mind is well established in Atman, one who has got the steady wisdom. In his case, all the empirical ideas that I am such and such are completely destroyed, because he is in the state of vidya. Vidya is opposite to avidya. So we are in the state of ignorance. When we reach the state, the higher state, vidya dawns, knowledge dawns, and knowledge is opposite to the ignorance. So, ya nisha, what is night? That means what is something is not seen, what is cannot be understood, what is something Greek and Latin, what is something which is unknown to all the living beings, Sarva Bhutana. All the living beings refers to those who are in ignorance, those who are in the empirical level, thinking that I am such and that, I am the ignorant, I am the such and. And this empirical world is full of such people. And that is night for what is night, what cannot be understood for ordinary living beings. And Shankaracharya specifically says that night is nothing but the reality. The reality is unknown to us. The Atman is unknown to us. The God is unknown to us. So God is something darkness to us, where we don't understand, where we don't comprehend. That is likened to be a darkness. In darkness you don't see anything. So ya nisha sarva bhutanam, what is night for the whole beings? Shankaracharya gives an example. There are some nocturnal animals. Nocturnal animals cannot see in the daytime. They are able to see only in the night time. In the daytime they are blind. So the ajnanis, the ignorant people, ordinary people like us, are nocturnal animals. We are not able to perceive the reality. What is reality? We see multifold world. This multifold world is nothing but the pure consciousness, Atman, or the God itself, that we are unable to see it. So the reality, and Shankaracharya defines that reality as Paramartha Tattva, the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth. We are not able to comprehend. That is something like darkness for us. Yanisha sarva bhutanam. Tasyam, in that reality is something light, the source of light, spiritual light for the Sanyami, one who has controlled the senses, controlled the mind, controlled the indriyas. Because in the earlier shloka emphasizes the control of mind and the senses. And what is the result of one who has controlled the mind and the senses? He will be awake in the reality which is like the darkness for other people. Darkness means unable to comprehend. So we see so many things in the daytime. Buildings we are able to see, the trees we are able to see, the road we are able to see, the persons we are able to see. But darkness envelops, the pitch darkness, what we call the blind darkness. We are not able to see anything. So reality is there, but due to our ignorance, we are not able to see it. And that is night for an ordinary people. In that night, for the ordinary people, that is Atman or the Paramartha Tattva, the ultimate reality, our Sanyami, one who has completely controlled the senses, the Jnani, the man of wisdom awakens. For him it is light, the source of pure consciousness. Sanyam, Prabuddha, Jagarti, he awakes in that. So this is the meaning of the first line. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami. So the reality is the same. Reality doesn't change. If we don't understand the reality, it is something darkness for them. We are not able to comprehend it. But the man of wisdom, Stita Prajna, here referred to as the control of the senses, able to see it. In that reality, he is awakened as if. We are sleeping, but he is awakened. For us it is darkness, but for his it is the fountain of light of consciousness. So, yasyam jagrati bhutani. So we are all awake, we are all very much vigilant, we are all doing our duties, we are all very active in a certain sphere of awareness. What is that awareness? That awareness of I am, mama and aham. This body and mind is I, and that belongs to body and mind is mine. Ahankara and the mamakara. This is the state of ignorance. The state of ignorance is compared to the dream. Dream also we see so many things. So dream is almost like a repetition of the experiences we have in the waking state. Whatever we see in the waking state, we carry it to the dream state also. But we know dream state is but an illusion. Dream state is not a reality. Dream state is going to destroy after some time. But while in the dream state, we are not aware of it. Dream state is very much real to us when we are dreaming. Only afterwards we come to know dream is not real. So we are all dreaming here. Where we are dreaming, that means we are awakened in that state of illusion. Yasyam jagrati bhutani. In the dream-like ignorant state. The ignorant state is called here, it is like the dream state. Only there is an illusion. Only illusion because of the ignorance. There we are awakened. We are dreaming. Our world, our concept of our world is nothing but dream. Our idea of ourselves as a man, woman, etc. are dream. So we are very much awakened in that. That dream state or the state of illusion, yasyam jagrati bhutani, that is something nisha, that is something unreal. Here nisha has to be understood as unreal. For whom? Pashyataha munehe. One muni or the sage, one who sees. One who sees means one who has seen the reality. One who has realized the reality, for whom he has realized the reality, realized the Atman, realized the God, all our experiences, ordinary experiences, which we think which is very true, is just like a dream. This is how Shankaracharya beautifully explains this sloka. Yanisha, what is night or the darkness for ordinary people, that is the reality, Atman or God, in that the man of wisdom awakens. And what is in which all the living beings are very much awakened, that means they are carrying out their activities, that is empirical experience, this empirical word for the man of wisdom, or one who sees, one who is realized the God or Atman, for him it is nothing but darkness. So darkness symbolizes unreality. So what is unreal to us, it is real to the man of wisdom. What is real to us is unreal to the man of wisdom. For us, God is something unreal. We do not know God. We do not know anything about Atman. We do not know anything about reality. Though we are very much a conscious entity, we do not know. Our nature is spiritual consciousness. Yet, a man of God, Mahatma, a man of steady wisdom, who has controlled the senses, will be able to see there the real reality itself. And for us, what is reality? The empirical experience, where we filled with ahankara and mamakara, and we feel ourselves as ordinary human beings, sukhi, dukkhi, and we are happy, we are miserable, all kinds of experiences we have. That is nothing but a dream. That dream is seen as something illusory, unreal by such person who has seen the truth. So the Upanishads say, Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam, that Vishnu Pada, where we will be see the whole creation, whole Srishti, whole existence as God and God alone. As Ishavasya Upanishad puts, Sarvam Ishavasya Upanishad says, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. Everything is covered to be covered with God. So this man of realization has covered everything with God. And another praise in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad we read, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything is nothing but Brahman, or the reality. So the man of wisdom sees the reality, at the same place we see unreality. So this is the distinction between an ordinary people and the extraordinary saints and the realization, one who has realized this truth. So this is a wonderful shloka. Often we misunderstand it, and Shankaracharya gives a precise and a wonderful and also correct understanding of this verse. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramāpaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kāmāha yam pravishanti sarve na shanti sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. So here next to two verses we learn what is the real peace. The real peace, I have told you repeatedly, can be obtained in dwelling in Atman, not in the external objects. Atmanev Atmana Tushtaha. What is the state of mind? What is its characteristics? This verse beautifully describes the state of the realized soul. Apu, he is like an ocean. He is like an ocean. So ocean is getting filled up by rivers from all these sides. Take the example of the Bay of Bengal. So Ganga river enters into that. Godavari river enters into that. Kaveri also enters into that same Bay of Bengal. Maybe hundreds more small rivers, rivulets, all enter into that ocean. But that ocean never crosses its boundaries and remains steady. Achalam Pratishtam, these are the two epithets by the Krishna here. Achalam means it doesn't move. It moves, of course, but it doesn't cross the boundaries. Achalam Pratishtam, it remains where it is. It is a very steady. It doesn't move as well as it remains steady. Achalam Pratishtam. Though it is getting filled with by rivers and the waters. Apuryamanam, filling with the rivers, getting filled every minute. Hundreds and thousands of gallons of liters of water is entering to the ocean. Apuryamanam. Still, the ocean remains unmoved. Achalam. It remains steady. Pratishtham. Samudram. Apaha. Pravishanti. When waters enter into that. In the same way, tadvatu. Yadvatu. In which way? Tadvatu. In the same way. So our Sthita Prajna is like an ocean. The kamas or the desires enter into his mind also. We are also afflicted by such kind of desires. Desires enter into our mind also. Desires enter into Sthita Prajna's mind also. And what is the difference between we, the common people, and the Sthita Prajna? In our case, we get distressed, we are perturbed, we get what you call, we are very much revolved because of the entry of the kamas. How the kamas enter, that is also very important. Kamas enter because the senses we see will give the experience of the outside objects. By having contact with the outside objects, the kamas enter into us. Or another explanation we can give, already we have read, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. We come across hundreds of objects in this world, but some objects attract us, we go on thinking about it, about them, we go on mulling about them, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, then we get the attachment towards them. Attachment, that is Sangaha. Sangaha Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Bhayat Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. The attachment leads to the kama. There is not one kama which enters into our mind. Every minute hundreds of desires enter into our mind as if. So it is that makes our mind perturbed, restless, miserable. And the thoughts of that nature in yoga is called the klesha vrittis. There are two kinds of thoughts according to yoga. The one kind of thoughts is called the miserable thoughts that gives us suffering. And another kind of thoughts are aklesha vritti, which gives us happiness. But the yogins, one who is adept in yoga, says both kinds of vrittis, both kinds of thoughts are miserable only. Sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Some thoughts we feel happy, in some cases we feel miserable due to our thoughts. So happiness and misery are nothing but the creations of our own thoughts. But in transcendental level of the yogins say both are dukkha only. Happiness is not real happiness. Happiness is but a misery in the garb of happiness. That's all. So this is how the kamas enter into our mind and make up suffer. So kama is another name of the dukkha according to Shankaracharya. In one place he translates or interprets kama as the shoka, because there is no difference between kama and shoka at all. Wherever there is kama, desire, there definitely will be shoka, the misery or the suffering. As Buddha puts it, we all know a well-known saying, desires are the causes of the suffering. Sufferings are all due to kamas. So this is the state of an ordinary person. But in the case of the man of steady wisdom, Tita Prajna, in his case also several kamas, hundreds of kamas enter into his mind. Because he is also a human being like us. He has got his own senses and the mind, and senses are moving outside and bringing the experience of objects into him, creating desires, and desires are entering into his mind. Still, those desires fail to make any difference in the tranquil state of mind in his case. They will never be able to disturb him at all. Because, as we have already seen earlier shlokas, he has completely withdrawn the senses. The mind is also withdrawn. By interaction with the external world, he has kept the interaction with the external world to minimum. even then the kamas enter, but he has shielded himself from all directions due to complete control over his mind and his senses. Just like the ocean getting filled up with the waters every minute, doesn't move and remains steady, achalam pratishtham. Tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve. So the kamas enter, but the man of wisdom, the realized soul, Tita Prajna, remains tranquil, remains steady, remains unmoved, even though the kamas enter into his mind. Such person alone will attain Shanti. This is the authentic, real definition of Shanti, peace. So, what is peace? Unaffected by the outside world, the temptations of the outside world. If we are affected by the temptations, the desires of the outside world, if we become weak, we cannot hope to be peaceful. We will be restless, we will be craving for the enjoyment. That craving increases over a period of time. The more the craving, the more the suffering. When there is an obstruction, anger comes, the kama itself transforms into anger. So we lead a miserable life. But this is how the only way to get peace of mind, unaffected by the outside temptations. Even though desires enter our mind, sometimes the thoughts of desires comes to us unaffected by that, shielding our mind from the control of the mind and the senses. Remain devoted to God, always concentrating our mind on God by remembering God, repeating the name of the God, constantly engaging in japa, meditation, the singing of Lord's glory, etc. Filling our mind with good thoughts, divine thoughts, spiritual thoughts. This is the only way to get the peace of mind. Sashanti mapnoti. And Krishna gives a rejoinder here, na kama kami. Kama kami, he says. Kami means one who has desires. What he desires? He desires kama. Kama are the objects of enjoyment. One who desires, kami is one who is desiring. If a person goes after the objects of desire, he develops incessant desires and he craves for the enjoyments of those objects, will never hope to be a peaceful person. He can never dream of peace in his life. This is the truth. This is a very harsh truth, but it is the truth. Krishna unequivocally instructs us to be tranquil in our mind, to find peace in our mind by getting rid of the desires, controlling our mind, controlling our senses, practicing meditation, to remain content, satisfied with ourselves. Atmanyev atmana tushtaha. And such a person, Krishna continues, vihaya kamanya sarvan puman charati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashanti madigacchati. very interesting factor here it is, these two verses specifically instructs us how to attain the shanti or the peace. It is what we are craving for every day, every minute. I have no peace in my mind. I am suffering. I am restless. I do not know what to do. I have fear. All the complexities of the mind, psychological problems. The only answer, only panacea to all the problems of life, to disengage ourselves from the external enjoyment and try to dwell more and more within ourselves, the God within our heart. That is what Atma is. And such a person, vihaya kaman, relinquishing all kinds of desires, yaha saruvan kaman. So I have some set of desires I can relinquish or give up. I have some more kind of desires I want to pursue those desires. It will not do. Every kind of desires, whether it is good desires or the bad desires that are antagonistic to the spiritual development. No desire is harmless. Every kind of desire is harmful. The only desire for God realization, desire for spiritual advancement, desires to do more and more sadhana is beneficial to our life. Otherwise, every kind of desire, every kind of hankering, every kind of craving, every kind of wanting creates ripples in our mind. Mind gets distressed and we become restless, and that is the cause of suffering, according to yoga as well as according to Vedanta. So, if one can give up all kinds of desires, saruvan kaman yaha puman, that person charati, wanders about. We cannot avoid this world. We have to live in this world. We cannot go to Himalayas. Even if we go to Himalayas, our mind follows there. We are carrying our mind everywhere. When we come to Ramakrishna Ashrama, we carry our mind. When we go to some other place, we carry the same mind. As soon as you enter into Ramakrishna Ashrama, mind will not change. Same mind full of desires will be there. So it is not suitable, it is not advisable not to interact with this world. We have to interact in this world. We have to do our duties for our family, for the society, for the good of all. Even the sannyasis in Ramakrishna Mission, we do a lot of work, sometimes more than the householders do. So we cannot but avoid the world. As Sri Ramakrishna said, be in the water, but don't allow the water to enter into you. Be in the world, but don't allow the worldliness enter into you. Boat should be in the water, but we should not allow the water enter into boat. The boat. So this is the lesson for us. That's why Krishna specifically says, you need not do anything. Charan. Go on doing this work. Charan. Move about. Wander about. But try to relinquish, give up desires as far as possible. And how to do it? Nispruhaha, without any kind of craving. I want that, I want this, I want that, I want this. There is no end at all. Nispruhaha, nirmamaha, nirahankaraha. As I told you, ahankara and mamakara, these are all the products of avidya. When I think I am the body, that is the superimposition of the idea of body and mind on the Atman. It's kind of a false identification on my part. That is called ahankara. I am not the body, still I think I am the body. All my actions are endowed or accompanied with the idea that I am body. I give up the idea of body only when I am in deep sleep. I have no idea of body, no idea of mind there. All the time, I always presuppose with every action that I am the body, I am the mind. This is ahankara. This is the cause of the misery. Nirahankaraha, I am the Atman. I am the Satchidananda. I am the Satyam Jnanam Ananta, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite existence. The God dwells in me. That is only the reality. Body and mind are not reality. It is my real nature. Such a person who is endowed with knowledge, bliss, spiritual consciousness is called Nispruhaha, Nirahankaraha, and Nirmamaha. When I think I am the body, naturally those worldly objects connected with me, which I have possessed, all my possessions, I develop identification with them. When I lose them, I feel miserable. I suffer. My house, my money, my car. So when I don't have ahankara, that I am body, etc., naturally mamatva, possession, it is this, it belongs to me, that idea also will go away. So nirahankara and nirmamatva goes together. Because where there is ahankara, there is mamata, possessiveness. Where there is no ahankara, there will be no mamata, and that is the state where you will have no desires at all. Nispruhaha. Sashanti madhigacchati. Once again, only such a person will obtain the real peace, tranquility, contentment, happiness. Esha brahmi stiti partha nainam prapya vimushyati titvasya mantakalepi brahma nirvana mruchati. Krishna terms this noble state where one is completely satisfied in Atman alone. One finds tranquility in Atman alone. One finds himself in perfect peace and tranquility. That is Brahmi Sthiti. Because such a person is dwelled in reality, that is Brahman. Because Atman is not different from Brahman. What we call the pure Atman, pure existence, pure knowledge and pure bliss is not different from the reality, that is Brahman. This is the state of being dwelling in Brahman, dwelling in the reality. The very interesting factor here is, when you are in the truthful state, in reality, you will find tranquility. When we are in an imagined state, unreal imaginatory condition, then we'll feel suffering. Suffering is due to avidya, according to Vedanta, Yoga, and other Indian schools of philosophy. We have not done any sin. Our only one sin, if a mistake is, we are ignorant of our real nature as Atman. So if we can dwell in our own Atman, that is, we are in reality. Everything else is unreal. So Krishna says, Yesha Brahmi Titihi. This Titi, this state is of dwelling in Atman, Brahman itself. And one becomes Brahman itself. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Knowing Brahman is not different from being Brahman. Because knowing Brahman is nothing but removing the ajnana or the ignorance, that's all. I see a snake, it is an illusion, it is an ignorance. I destroyed that ignorance. What I see is rope, which is already there. So what is there is Brahman. I have superimposed on it the ideas of body, mind, etc. I have filled my mind with kama, ahankara, mamata, I-ness, minus, craving for things. If I remove that, all desires will go, ahankara will go, possessiveness will go, and what remains is what I am, what really I am. That is called Brahmi Sthiti. Partha Nainam Prapya Vimushyati. One does not get deluded further on attaining this state. There will be no illusion, there will be no delusion. If I am not able to see the reality, Brahman, why I am? I am deluded. Brahman is covered, the truth is covered, the reality is covered by ajnana. That means I am moha. Already we have learnt in the first chapter, Arjuna was suffering from two main defects, shoka and the moha. They are the breeding grounds or the seeds of all kinds of samsara. So one has to remain in that Brahmi Sthiti if one wants to be free from all kinds of delusion. Delusion is nothing but this empirical world of I and mine, etc. Titva asyam antakalepi. Antakala means even at the time of death, if we can remain in that state, by God's grace or our Guru's grace, if we can have that state of Brahmi Titi, tranquil state, at the end of our life, even at the end of our life, that will lead to Brahma Nirvana Mruchyati. Nirvana means cessation of all kinds of suffering. That is possible only when we establish ourselves in Brahman, the reality. That means oneness, identity, unity with Brahman will be possible. That is what we call the liberation or the moksha. Krishna says, even at the end of life, if we can remain there, that will lead to liberation. But if we want to have that state at end of our life, when we are dying, at the time of death, if we can have that state, for that we have to strive now itself. whatever bhavas, whatever thoughts we accumulate throughout our life, that only remain at the end of life. You cannot bring a new thought or new awareness or new kind of wisdom at the end of life. It is impossible. We have to continuously think of it, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, hear about it, hear about God, contemplate on God, and absorb in God, and do Seva Yoga and all kinds of spiritual practices continuously. If we do, and there is a chance of remembering God or remaining in that Brahmi sthiti, that will lead to Brahma Nirvana, oneness with Brahman or the unity with Brahman. That is the state of moksha or the liberation. So we have completed second chapter. Iti Srimad Bhagavadgitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Krishnarjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyaya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishnarpanamastu.